Here are 5 VS Code tips that can improve your experience when writing code in VS Code, and this is part 1. So let's look at the first one, which is multi-selection. Now let's say I have this simple code here. I have a fruits variable which has this array, and here I use the fruits variable, here, and I also use it here on line 6. Now let's say I want to rename this fruit to items. One way I can do this is to come here, change this to items, then come here, change this to items, then come here, change this to items. Yeah, imagine we had like 50 occurrences of fruits. That's going to be a stressful experience having to replace all of this one by one. So one thing that I can do is multi-selection. So by selecting fruits here, I can use Command D on my Mac, or if you're on Windows, that will be Control D. And by clicking Command D, you see that the next occurrence is selected. If I click Command D again, the third occurrence is now selected. And if I click Command D, you can see the fourth occurrence is now selected. And now that these 4 occurrences are selected, I can now change all of them at once. So if I write items, you can see that 4 of them change to items. Another way I can do this is, instead of having to do Command D, Command D, Command D, I can just select this and then have Command Shift L, or if you're on Windows, Control Shift L. And by doing that, all the occurrences of fruits in this file will be selected, and again I can rename them at once. The second amazing tip in VS Code is a quick way to comment your code. Now different programming languages have different syntax for commenting code. This is a JavaScript file, so to comment this code I'm going to have a // at the beginning like this. Well, a quick way I can do this in VS Code is command and /. So by clicking that together, you can see this line is now commented, and I can even do this for multiple lines at once. So I can select from line 6, and then if I do command / like this, you can see these lines are commented. And if I want to uncomment it back, I can select all the commented lines and then command / again, and you can see they are now uncommented. Now let's say I had a Python file here and I had a HTML file here. If I go to the Python file and I come here and I do command /, you can see instead of having / or /, we now have the hash symbol. So VS Code will check the file or the language that you're writing in, and then by doing command / it will apply the right syntax for commenting that line. If I come to this HTML file here and I do command /, you can see it's a different thing here. So this is the syntax for commenting code in HTML. VS Code figures that out, and then VS Code applies the comment. The third VS Code tip is an easy way to access all the commands in your VS Code, and you can do that using Command Shift P, or if you're on Windows, Control Shift P. And you can see these are all the commands I have here. It's a very long list. You can also search commands. So if I type git, you can see all the git related commands. There is add git repository, scroll, there is git clone, there is git length. Yeah, there are a couple of them. If I type open live server, this is one I use a lot. You can see it here. So I can easily open my folder in the VS Code as a live server, and I can view my HTML files on a browser. But instead of having to look for these commands one by one, you can just access this command dialog, type whatever command you want, and use that command immediately. The fourth VS Code tip is an easy way to duplicate lines of code. Now let's say I have this on line 1. If I want to duplicate this, I can select it, copy, then go to the next line and do paste, and I can go to the next line too and do paste. And although this works, there is an easier way to do this, and that is using Option Shift and then up or down. Option in Windows is Alt, so if you're on Windows it will be Alt Shift. So if I do Option Shift and down, you can see it copies that line to the next line. If I do down again, it copies that line to the next line. And if I do up, that means it will copy the line to the line above. So let's say I come to line 5 and I do Option Shift up, you can see it will copy it above. And by doing this, you can see that I can easily duplicate as many lines of code as I want. I can even copy 24 and 25 and do Option Shift down. I can see it duplicates that line easily. I love using this command a lot. This is one of my favorites. And I'm keeping the best for the last. The fifth amazing tip is multi-cursor placement. Now I've removed the previous lines that were here, so we have only line 1. Now this cursor is currently at line 2. You can see the cursor blinking here. If I hold the Option key, or if you're on Windows, the Alt key, and I click here, you can see we now have 2 cursor placements. If I click on line 5, line 7, I'm still holding the Option key, line 9, line 10, line 12, or even at the end of line 1 here, you can see we have multiple cursors. And with these cursors all here, that means we can type on these lines or at these points at the same time. So let's say I type my name is Dillion. You can see my name is Dillion is on the different places that the cursor is simultaneously placed at. And if I want to stop this cursor placement, because any other thing I type will keep showing on all these cursors, if I want to cancel this and have my cursor in just one place, I'm not holding the option key right now. I can just click on anywhere I like. So if I click on this place, you can see all those multiple cursors have disappeared and I have my cursor in just one place. So these are 5 amazing VS Code tips that I believe can improve your coding experience. Which of them is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss out on part 2 of this VS Code tips series.